Is the Fed stupid, or are they intentionally screwing the middle class? What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, the 5th of March. My God, it's March already, and March Madness is right around the corner. But the question is the Fed really dumb, or are they really intentionally screwing the middle class as part of the leftist plan that we're watching Biden and company try to execute here as they take away our money through taxes, through inflation, through phony programs, through climate change, which is all bullshit. Okay, because even if you believe in the fact that we have climate change, you cannot possibly believe at the cost that we're paying to get there, when so far they have done nothing but cost us money and take money away from us. Okay, so at the end of the day, it comes back to the Federal Reserve, who is hiking rates. And we saw the 10-year notes go over 4% this week, which we'll get to more in our market report. But we also see the yield curve inverted at the most drastic rate ever. We see the maximum amount of credit card debt ever. Okay, so again, you have Neil Kashkari, the moron from Minneapolis, who is telling us that Americans are earning too much because of the pace of inflation. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm making 0.6% more and I'm spending 1.8, how long will it take me to go broke at that ratio? It's spending 3 times what I'm taking in. Not very long, which is why the average American doesn't have $1,000 in their pocket to be able to go for an emergency. Okay. Mortgage rates at 28-year highs, over 7%, going to 10. And of course, can that be good for the economy? Can that be good for the housing market? I don't think so. I think that, again, here we are setting ourselves up for another bank bailout because of the Federal Reserve, because of their ignorance, which we have laid out here many, many times before. And we'll lay out again that they're stealing from us. It may not be classified as stealing, but at the end of the day, when you have to pay more money either through inflation or through taxes to finance government programs, you are getting robbed. Okay, you are being stolen from. It is that simple. That this administration, more than any administration I can remember, is doing their best job at busting out small business in the middle class. Okay, and of course, as you look at 1 year later, the White House and NATO got it wrong with Ukraine and the war, which should have never happened, and I guarantee would have not happened under President Trump. But the war is now a money pit, okay? And NATO says that $50 billion in euros in aid is not enough, and it's far from satisfying what Ukraine needs. They don't have enough money for the bags to hand off to the lobbyists and the politicians that go over there. Okay. At this point, Biden has still not been to Palestine, Ohio, but he has been to Poland and Ukraine. Okay. Is he on the pickup circuit now? I don't know. But I do know that, I don't know about you, but we should not be funding the war in Russia and Ukraine. We should not be spending hard-earned American tax dollars for the war in Ukraine and Russia that shouldn't be there in the first place, and is gone from a potential chance for Russia to occupy Ukraine, which they have failed at doing, or it's a way to drain the capital from American taxpayers. Okay, you can look at it whichever way you want, but we know for sure that the war should not be going on. It should have never started. And if you had a president that had any balls, we would have never got to this point. Okay? But of course, we know that they tried to impeach President Trump for talking to Zelensky, but yet we know that there's some shady business going on there with all the money that we're sending in. Okay? So they got it wrong, as always. Okay. And of course, we just saw on Friday the ISM services number, which was an explosion. Okay. Which means what? That inflation is nowhere near being done, that we are nowhere near that ridiculous bullshit number of 6.5%, which they tell us. And in fact, from my point of view, as I went to the grocery store, my normal bill is $40. For the same items, this time, it was $80. 6 months, 100% of inflation on the products that I buy. Loaf of bread, 100% higher. Okay. Now, again, you may say it's no big deal. Okay, well, maybe to you it's no big deal. To me, it's a big deal. To me, it is taxation without representation. To me, it is us being fleeced by an administration that has done nothing. Okay, that has done nothing but create more hatred in this country than I've ever seen. That has created more racism. Of course, we have a racist president, so why would we expect not to have racism? Okay, I mean, if you don't remember, during the debates, Kamala Harris pointed out all the votes that President Biden made that were all racist. But of course, listen, what does she care? She sucked up and went and took the VP job anyways. Okay, but of course, she's no bargain either. She's another crook. But in the meantime, here we are, okay, in a position in which inflation is getting worse, jobs are not being filled, okay? So we are in that neighborhood that is called stagflation, okay, which is not a good neighborhood to be in. Any of you who remember the Jimmy Carter era, okay, that was not a good time unless you had capital. So when you look at the big picture, who is benefiting the most from these moronic policies that are being set by this administration? Okay? And before I answer that, let's not forget that AOC, who somehow got elected twice, once I can see, twice is just ignorance, okay, who said that we should stop daylight savings times because that would help with the energy policy and green energy because we get more daylight. I mean, I don't know. You know, the clock doesn't change. The sun comes out so many hours a day, no matter whether it's at 6 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay? And whether it stays light till 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock at night. We get the same amount of sunlight, no matter what the clock says. Okay? In the meantime, you've got, okay, a policy that has wrecked the middle class and has made the Googles, the Facebooks, the Amazons, and all those big party guys, the ones that they keep telling us that don't pay enough taxes, it has made them much stronger. Remember, in these times of high inflation and very tough economic times, the benefactors are the extremely wealthy, and they continue to get benefit from what's going on in this country. Okay? So you can think what you want, you can believe in this, but numbers don't lie, and the destruction of small business, you're paying more taxes, all for nothing. Okay? So, again, you're going to see power shortages. We talked about this a little bit last week, but you're going to see shutdowns in power. Now, how do you expect to get a green energy policy when you're burning more coal than ever, even in this country? How do you expect to get to all electronic vehicles when your power grid can't support the power that you're using now? Okay? Fossil fuels are not going away. We have a CO2 shortage. Carbon dioxide, the thing that makes the environment bad, supposedly. Okay, we have a CO2 shortage. Okay? So how are you going to get to where you plan on getting? Okay? And of course, one of the saddest things of the week is that Americans depending on their tax refund to stay afloat. Well, why would anybody overpay the government their tax money instead of putting it in a CD at 4.5% or 5% for 3 months? Okay, why would any American want to pay more taxes? You think it's for savings? It's for thievery. Okay. Giving the government money to use, okay, with no interest, okay. Look, at the end of the day, we got big problems, okay? And we'll get more of this in our commentary, but schools are pushing gender pronouns, he, she, her. Bullshit, I say, okay? Again, you can be whatever you want to be, but I don't have to be a party to it, okay? You can be what you want in the privacy of your own relationships. I don't need to be told what to say and who to say it to, okay? I have the freedom to say as I believe, as long as it does not create a war, okay? I should have the right to free speech as long as it's not offensive. But to then teach me the gender pronouns and I have to start addressing people as such, to me, is total bullshit. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, the 5th of February. Let us step out here for our break, and we'll come back with our market update right after the break. What's up, kids? What's going on? And I hope you're all having a great time. Markets have been really shitty and tough to trade, but of course, we continue to trade them and make a little bit of money. But in the meantime, I do want to talk to you about our two brokerage partners we have. And of course, you know I have many brokers, but the two that I use the most, the one that saves me $100,000 a year at least, and that's of course Trade Your Brokerage for my options and equities. They are by far the best in the industry for what I want to do. Yes, I have Thinkorswim, I have others, but Trade Your is by far the best, and especially they're the best not only because they can auto trade my account through my software, okay, but they can also they charge me $10 a month flat, whether I'm auto trading or whether I'm trading it myself. So think about that and think about how much money you'll save. Okay. And of course, their link is on the side, but it's try.tradeyear.com/Bubba. Of course, Capital Trading Group, our partner in Day Trader's Dream. Also, our brokerage, one of our brokerage partners, somebody who I use for 99% of my trading. And of course, they're the best because they got the greatest service. And that's for both our great customer service, which there's nothing more important when you got money on the line than customer service. And that's, you want to check them out, go to info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. And of course, our high school program, which this is going to be our last year. We're making one last stab, but unfortunately, the destruction of this country, okay, has put a damper on us teaching financial literacy, because the bottom line is, of course, our administration doesn't want people to be financial literate. They want them to be illiterate. In the meantime, that is showing us the bottom if you'd like to help us out in our last push. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 5th of March. And, of course, the markets had a little bit of an up week, but again, you would have expected it if you were on the Monday night call or you got some of my writings during the week. I told you, expect a rally. It's coming. Okay, why? Because, again, we were pretty oversold. All right. And, of course, we closed the week in the indexes right at resistance. We are still short all four major indices, and all four closed at resistance. And I would expect tomorrow, okay, to be lower or flat, and I would think that the downtrend should resume from here. We've got a couple of key levels just above us that should halt this market. And again, I think what you really saw was more of a short squeeze than anything else. So at the end of the day, I think that, again, I think the trend is down. We are short, and of course we could change, and certainly a couple of rally days would probably force us to change. But right now, I can see that by the phases of the market, we're right at resistance, and we'd be sellers. And of course, many of us did go home extra short on Friday. In the meantime, in the dollar, which we no longer trade, but the dollar index, if we did trade it, we would be long it right now. It's still trending higher. And of course, the euro currency, we are short, and obviously we'll be short as it is trending lower. It did have a little bit of a bounce, but again, remember, you expect bounces in markets that are overdone. And Bitcoin, which we're short, was lower, and it seems to be a little bit in trouble. But again, I would expect to find a bounce, and I do expect Bitcoin to go much higher. But for right now, we're short. Okay. The bonds and notes, you know, even with the big rally on Friday, okay, the bonds and notes were still down for the week. Okay. And the 10-year notes did get through 4%, and I think they're going to 6%. So again, we would be sellers of bonds and notes because they go inverse to the markets, to the interest rate market. And again, the Fed's going to hike again, and there's no doubt about it. As far as the precious metals, we remain short. And of course, they did have an up week across the board. Now, we don't short platinum because we don't trade it anymore. But we'd be long platinum now because it has had a pretty big move. But gold and silver, which we do trade, we are short both. And again, I do think that gold is going to make a new high this year, but the trend is lower right now. And as it does check near that 1800 level, close the week around 1850. We'll see. Again, I'm not opposed. It's kind of in mid-range right now, but again, a bounce is no surprise because of the oversold conditions. And as we look at copper, okay, which we're long, okay, copper is, again, I think it's too high, and I'd like to be short it, and I think we're very close to a short signal, okay. But natural gas, okay, it had a nice big up week, which we were long for the week. And crude oil, which we were short, we will be reversing tonight or tomorrow. That'll be up to you. But we will be turning to long as it pushes up north towards that $80 level point. And I think if you saw Friday's action, that was like a key reversal after getting crushed early and falling about, making the big rally and closing on the highs of the day. In the grain markets, interesting enough, we are short across the board. Corn and wheat were both down on the week. And of course, soybeans were pretty much flat. What does that mean? Well, again, I don't understand why we're at these prices to begin with, especially when you look at the grocery prices and you look at the input cost to farmers. There's something wrong with this picture, okay? And I would expect to see grain prices explode. I mean, again, I've said this for a number of weeks, maybe a number of months, that I expect a big market in commodities in 2023. In the protein complex, we don't trade it anymore, but we would be long cattle, which has had a nice big week, and fat cattle or live cattle continues to go to new highs and is threatening the all-time record highs. Hogs continue to struggle. Okay, now again, I would expect to see a sharp up move in hogs this week, one day, like a limit up type of day. We would be short, but I will be looking for a spot to buy for a trade. If I can get a lower opening, I do expect a rally, which I'll make a quick 1 or 2 day trade. And of course, in the softs, cocoa, in which we are long, was higher. Sugar, in which we are short, is lower. Cotton is lower. OJ, which we reversed to short, was lower. And coffee, which we will reverse either tonight or tomorrow, to short. Okay. So again, you can see, but I do think, again, I believe that the commodities are going to have big moves up. Okay. And I think it's going to get crazy at some point. But right now, again, you got to play what you got. And either you sit it out or you wait, okay? In the meantime, again, markets look like they're in trouble, but we are missing still volume. That's an issue to watch. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, March the 5th. Let's step out here for our final break, and we'll be back with my commentary. Well, kids, again, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel with our broker partners, but we do have brokerage partners. They do sponsor this show. And again, we just want you to be aware of who they are. I have many brokers, just to give you full disclosure, but the ones I use the most, Trade Your Brokerage, $10 a month, I can't beat it. Capital Trading Group, great customer service. And of course, don't forget about our high school program, which this administration is trying to stop financial literacy. And of course, we know that the financial literacy country under any administration hasn't been very good and getting worse, but we cannot keep making our children dumb. We need to educate them so that they don't fall into the same trap of crappy government, no matter which administration is power, because they both suck at this moment. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 5th of March, and of course, getting ready for March Madness. Got a lot of tournaments going on, got golf going on, coming up for the Masters. It's going to be exciting because football's over, but we're getting back into season. We'll start having a few more selections again. But in the meantime, as we always talk about in my commentary, and I cannot believe that corporate America is falling into the trap of the pronoun bullshit, the transgender bullshit. Again, you want to be transgender, please feel free, okay? You have the right, but I don't have to be advertised to it. And of course, Hershey is now using a new campaign, her or she, for the pronouns. And again, I'm not against transgender. I don't care what you do. Okay, but I don't need the advertising. Okay, I don't need every commercial to be around what that is. I don't need my children. Fortunately, my children are past that age. I don't need my children being taught about this at an age and when they're still impressionable. Okay, I don't think that it is the right thing to do. And again, this goes back to allowing transgender to compete in women's sports. And I cannot believe that last week West Virginia voted down a bill to stop that. I think it's unfair. I think it is almost like using steroids if you were in baseball, which is against the rules. But again, I don't believe that I should have to be pounded with advertising on things that I don't believe in. I don't care what you do, and if you believe in them, great, do it. But I don't think that I should be forced to watch, or it should be put into my programming, okay? Because again, I don't have anything against it, except the fact that I don't need to be advertised to it. And for you haters who like to write into me with ridiculous moronic thoughts, save your time. I just remove you anyways. There's no point. If you want to put something intelligent, great. Okay, it doesn't have to agree with me, but at least have it intelligent. Don't be a moron and send me in some stupid ass crap that is a waste of your time and mine, because I'll just remove you and you'll never be able to be on there again. And there's just no point to it, when certainly I'm very open to listen to other people's opinion, as long as you give me an intelligent and without a lot of your adverbs that you like to use. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 5th of March. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update. And of course, always next Sunday with Bubba's Daily Update, with Bubba's Bottom Line. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later.